Hello everybody, Lobotomized Logan here, and this partner showcase is exactly what we needed. Now, I would have liked a full proper direct, but I was mainly worried about third-party games, as the first-party lineup is pretty stacked into 2026, albeit without direct release dates, but still stacked nonetheless. But with that being said, let's get into this and my predictions. My first category is going to be things that are definitely happening, and I'm just going to throw my hat in the ring. My first guarantee is that 80% of these games will be game key cards because there's no way in hell a third party studio is actually going to pony up the $16 for a cartridge unless it's something like CD Projekt Red or Marvelous. My next thing is we're going to get release dates for FF7 Remake and Elden Ring. I think FF7 Remake's going to release in either late November or early December. I think that's probably got a lock for that month. And then I think Elden Ring for October would coincide with Halloween perfectly, giving the kind of gothic style of Elden Ring. My next thing I think is going to happen, and my last predictions for the definitely going to happen category, is we're going to get Persona 3 Remake, 4 Remake, and Metaphor ReFantazio announced. And the main reason I think that is because it's a no-brainer given how Atlus's multi-platform stuff has been selling, combined with the fact that the original Switch was a JRPG selling machine, and I can see the Switch 2 getting that title very soon considering how it's been selling in America and Japan. Not to mention the fact that the other Persona games they put on the original Switch were successful, but power might be the issue with these remakes in Metaphor. So these are all things I consider to be no-brainers for the Switch 2 Direct. The only thing that I think might be a little shaky is the Persona 3, 4, and Metaphor announcements. I think we'll probably get Persona 3. 4 Remake might be held off on an announcement, and Metaphor is a 50-50 toss-up, but I'm sure we're going to see these games regardless at some point, even if not tomorrow. So those are things that I think are definitely going to happen. Here's a couple things that I think are a maybe. Death Stranding Shadow Drop, it's been heavily rumored, and this game has been literally everywhere, from iOS to PlayStation to Xbox. It would not surprise me to see it get shadow dropped on the Switch 2 tomorrow. As a one more thing, I would be excited nonetheless, as Death Stranding is a game I've been wanting to get into. But that's my first prediction for the this might happen. I'm leaning more towards yes. On to the next thing, I really do think and agree with that Red Dead Redemption 2 is going to come to the Switch. The original came to Switch 1, and from what I heard, it did well sales-wise. And if they're going to be remastering Red Dead Redemption 2 for the PS5 and the Series X, why not throw a Switch 2 version on there? Throwing it out there, I'm going to say, with how the game performed on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 4 Pro, the Switch leveraging DLSS, I can see us getting a quality mode at 1440p 30 and docked, and then a performance mode in 720 to 1080p docked 60 FPS. But overall, I would be really excited to see RDR2. I got 30 hours into it on the Xbox, and then my Xbox broke, so I have never gotten back to it, and that was back when it launched. So would definitely be picking up RDR2 if it comes to Switch. Next up is a thing I'm 50-50 about. It's Project Watari, which is a Arc System Works game. It's unknown what it could be, a fighting game, a crossover. We really don't know what it is. All we know is that it's made by Arc System Works. It's going to be on Unreal Engine 5.4, and it is targeting a November release date as of when this leak came out. Now, the final category I call No Shot Buddy. Games or things that have been leaked/rumored that probably aren't going to happen tomorrow. And my first thing is Helldivers 2. As much as I'd like to fight for Super Earth on the Nintendo Switch 2, and despite the fact it's actually coming to Xbox Series S and X, I don't think Nintendo and Sony are on that level, especially since Sony views Nintendo as direct competition, whereas Xbox really isn't in the race anymore, considering them going completely third party and releasing quite literally everything everywhere. Segueing into my next point, I really don't think we're going to get many Microsoft games at this presentation tomorrow. Specifically, Oblivion, Avowed, Outer Worlds 2. Now, this is just going off vibes, but I do think we can get things like Sea of Thieves and Grounded 2. I just don't think they're going to pull through and put Oblivion on the system or any of the more mature RPGs, which is weird considering they put other mature games on the Nintendo systems before. But I might be wrong. We might have to wait and see till tomorrow. We might end up getting Oblivion and Doom the Dark Ages on the Switch 2, and I would look quite foolish in that instance. But these were the predictions that I don't think are going to happen, and there really wasn't very many because the Switch 2 being so new, we don't know how well certain things sold. We don't know what is a given, what isn't. So I just don't think we're going to end up with anything mature rated from Microsoft, and I definitely don't think we're getting Helldivers 2. But with that being said, now that we talked about what I'm predicting, what do I want out of a partner direct? This is going to be purely speculation and stuff that is on my personal wish list, so don't take this as gospel. Stranger Than Heaven is the game I am most excited for at this point in time. It's made by the Yakuza devs, and it looks really, really cool. The combat's much grittier. It's a much darker take on Japanese history that they've never really seemed to have taken before with the Yakuza series. It just looks really good, and I'm really hoping we get a Switch version that is decent performance-wise, because this game looks like a beast, I'm not going to lie. But hey, if they can get it running on the Series S, they could probably get it running on the Switch too. So that's my first wish list that I want to see on here. My next thing I'm wishing for is I want the Resident Evil games, specifically all the ones that are running on RE Engine. And I wouldn't even be mad if they started with Resident Evil 9 or Requiem, as it is coming out in February, so if it were to get announced for the Switch 2 at this Direct, it could still launch on day one with the other systems. I don't see that happening, but I really, really hope it's in the Direct tomorrow, because that would be a killer app for the first year of the Switch 2, having a full-fledged mainline Resident Evil game on the RE Engine showing off the power of the system. If not, I'll take 4 Remake, I'll take 3, 2, 7, 8, with ray tracing and all the fancy features that next generation can bring us. But that is my second wish for this Nintendo Direct. Going back to Microsoft games, I want South of Midnight on the Switch too. It feels like a perfect fit, being a platformer hack and slash set in the American South. It's a very unique game, especially with its take on like the Spider-Verse style animation for gameplay and cutscenes. It looks really, really fun, and it's definitely a game I would dive into if it came over to the Switch 2. But Microsoft, if you're listening, please give us an actual physical cartridge for this game. It seems like one of those that would have a dope collector's edition with a bunch of little trinkets and then the game fully on cartridge. I would kill to see South of Midnight on the Switch 2. My final game I want on the Nintendo Switch 2 is Metal Gear Solid Delta, or I'll take Master Collection Volume 2 with MGS4 and the PSP games. They've had success with the Master Collection on Switch, and I think we're ready to see more Metal Gear Solid on Nintendo. And what better way than the fancy new remake or a port of the most infamously exclusive game, Metal Gear Solid 4, to kickstart Konami's third-party support on the Switch 2. Which, another thing I'd like to see, also Konami, is Silent Hill 2, but with the exclusive rights to that being iffy with Sony, I'm not sure if we'll ever see it on Nintendo or even Xbox. But the elephant in the room is the fact that the Partner Direct's 25 minutes long, and I've predicted about 27 games, which seems like a lot, and it is a lot. So I definitely don't expect all of these, or really any of these, to happen. Maybe Metal Gear and maybe Resident Evil, but South of Midnight I think missed its chance, and Stranger Than Heaven doesn't even have a release date. Same goes with the other list. I just think it's fun to speculate, and I'll be back tomorrow with the Nintendo Direct post-review, where I go over if I think it's disappointing or exciting as someone who does own the system in its first year. So let's go back over the list real quick. First, things that I think are going to happen. 80% of the games will be on key cards. We're going to get release dates for FF7 Remake and Elden Ring, and I do think we're going to get the Atlas sweep. Things that might happen, but I'm 50-50 on, are Death Stranding getting released, let alone Shadow dropped. I can see that happening, as it's been on quite literally everything else. RDR2 has been heavily rumored, and at this point, I'd be more disappointed if it didn't happen, because they've gotten my hopes up, because Red Dead Redemption 2 is genuinely a very good game. And then finally, I think it's a 50-50 that we get Project Watari. Dear Me, I Was, their other Switch exclusives releasing tomorrow, so I can see them doing a out and out trailer and then a but wait one more thing as the main exclusive. Watari does mean crossover in Japanese, so maybe it's a Nintendo crossover game. We don't know. It could always just be like an indie crossover, but with it being a Switch 2 exclusive, it's kind of sus on what it might be. Some things that I'd really like to happen, but are probably not going to. I don't think we're going to get Helldivers 2, nor do I think we're going to get many mature-rated Microsoft games, being like Oblivion, Avowed, Outer Worlds 2, Black Ops, you name it. I don't think it's going to happen. Finally, out of my wish list, I only really think Resident Evil, and that's the RE Engine games, not 9, and Metal Gear Solid Delta are going to get announced. They kind of seem like no-brainers, especially if they can run them. So I'd really like to see those games. But who knows? We might get everything. We might get nothing. It's always fun to predict. I'm glad y'all checked out the video. Like, comment, subscribe. And expect a video post-Nintendo Direct review of this one. And then a review of Dear Me, I Was, which is the new Switch 2 exclusive that has flown under the radar for many people. But with all that being said, lobotomized Logan out. Y'all have a good one.